Welcome to Ask a CEO. I'm Greg Demetrio, your host. My day job is CEO Lorraine Gregory Communications, which is an integrated marketing agency in New York. But my real fun job is being the host of this Ask a CEO show, where I get to meet and talk to CEOs from all different types of industries from all over the world. It's my passion, it's my joy, and I love to do this. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Today, our guest is Anant Kataria, who is the CEO and co-founder of Sagacious Research in 2008 to provide solutions in the intellectual property space throughout the IP cycle. Now, in 2008, the Sagacious team of over 300 professionals have served over 2,000 customers with high-quality IP solutions from 9 offices across 6 continents. They're one of the largest in the IP space. Anant himself was selected as the Young Turk and featured on the CNBC TV show of the same name. He was also ranked as IM Strategy 300 list in 2019, and the company was certified as a great place to work in 2018 and 2020. Sagacious services and solutions are elevated client savings of over $500 million and help them make $1 billion by giving them solutions to the challenges they face at various IP lifecycle events. Anant moved to Toronto, Canada in July 2019 to focus on the North American market. He's also written several articles that have been featured in Economic Times. So welcome to the Ask a CEO show, Anant.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Greg.
You know, it's very interesting. You've built and run a global company with offices on several continents, which is just mind-blowing to me, right? But before we get into that, perhaps you can tell us your backstory, how you wound up where you are today.
Yeah, sure. So I'm an engineer by education. So when I was doing my engineering, uh, I was I was doing my mechanical engineering, and it was in my dream job to be working with one of the top automobile companies in India in their R&D division. And thankfully, by the end of my engineering, I got a job offer with that company. So I started there, worked there for a year and a half, and that's when I realized that at least in India, the tech space was slow. The automotive engineering new research was slow, and I thought this is not for me. I wanted something fast. So and that was also the time when I someone introduced me to this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was the first time I read it. And that triggered this thought that I don't, first, I don't want to be working in this setup. And then second, I probably do not want to be working as an employee. I probably want to build something.
Mm.
So so I think then I moved to EvalueServe, which was a knowledge process outsourcing firm, a KPO, so to say, which is a company that was, they coined the term KPO. They were the first KPO in the world. And when I got in there, I really loved the job. It was all tech. We just got to analyze patents, technical thing, legal thing. I was just, very happy working there. And then combining the two things, why not do the same thing on my own? So around 2.5 years after working at EvalueServe, I started Sagacious with my partners. We were 3 people when we started, and it was not a good time to start a company. It was like 2008 recession.
Is it ever a good time, though? But that was really not such a, it was a terrible time, but God bless you were able to pull it off.
Yeah,
So,
I'm so thankful to our first client who sustained us, through that period. They kept giving us business for the first couple of years. We were able to just sail through, just break even. We were able to take, let's say, the bare minimum expenses
right.
that we needed.
Excellent.
And then we started expanding, traveling to US and Europe to meet new customers, do business development, and then from there on it kept on
Wow.
going
What a
well.
ride. What a ride, right? So anyhow, God bless you. You came to a good place. What exactly is the IP industry? And what does your company do for your clients?
Right, right. So, all big and small companies that you think of, they have some sort of IP. They and there are different forms of IP. Mostly, it's going to be either patents or trademarks. So, patents which give people, rights to protect their inventions and stop people from making, using, or selling, things made by their inventions. And trademarks, they are essentially helping you protect your brand name, slogans, logos, and anything that is used to identify your brand in trade. And all this IP, in a recent report by Standard and Poor's, it was identified that over 80% of the valuation of the market is intangible assets, and majority of that is IP. So it has a big impact in the valuations of the companies that
Mhm.
we see, public companies, and even companies that are startups that are getting their funding and stuff like that. So in order to create a strategy around building your IP portfolio, maintaining your IP portfolio, is this good? I mean, I'm just
No, you're
stopping
good.
here. Just
You're good. Everything's good.
okay. Okay. So to create a strategy around building your IP portfolio, maintaining your IP portfolio, making sure that you're able to defend any attacks on your business because someone has an IP and they think you are infringing on that.
But
So
now,
all yes,
one second though. You're an engineer by trade. Isn't
yes,
IP usually the domain of lawyers?
yes, indeed. So IP, specifically patents, is like you got to be technical, and then on top of that, you have to have legal expertise. So
Ah,
it's a combination of both. And the base is technical. So what we do is that all this kind of IP activities, it requires lawyers, and at the same time it also requires a lot of technical and legal research.
ah,
It requires data analytics, techno legal writing, IP valuation. So let's say if you want to sell your IP or monetize it, take it to the bank and get some
right. Yeah,
money from the bank. So all that needs financial analysis around IP, so those kind of things. And then at times administrative and clerical work to maintain, to submit
right,
documents and to keep track of
right.
those things.
So now you provide this service, your expertise to Fortune 500 level companies. What are the primary solutions that those companies come to you for?
So there are many different things in the entire, let's say, in any organization. Let's say, for example, Apple. They have a team of engineers that are continuously working on bringing new features into the phones and the devices that they come up with.
Mm,
And they're also working on bringing in completely new devices. So all these guys, day in and day out, they're thinking of something new and they're documenting it or creating it, right? And this is what Apple wants to protect. They don't want others to copy it. And if others copy it, they want to be able to sue them or stop them. That's why they need to file patents on each of these new things that they come up with. A patent in general can only be, you can get a patent if what you're doing is totally new. It's something that's being done for
mm,
the first time in the world. Someone has to check that before you submit this document to a patent office. So that means all these thousands of people, they're coming up with thousands of inventions every year, and someone needs to check that technically, whether it's new or not. So that's something, that's one thing that we do. So this is
So
called
would it,
patentability.
yeah,
Yeah.
would it be fair to say that you're a clearinghouse for them to move forward into the IP space with a new patent? In other words, you put your eyeballs on it and say, yep, you guys are good with this, or wait a minute, hold on, we need to do a little tweaking on it. Am I correct?
That's very right. So that's one thing, one part of what we do. That's one thing that companies use us for, right? And then let's say you've done this, and now you have the patents that are inventions that are ready to be filed. You want to engage a lawyer who will write the application, and then it will go through the patent office. It'll
Right,
get
right.
granted and stuff. Now you have a bunch of patents. You've 10,000 granted patents. What do you do with those patents? You got to make sure that you make money out of those. So you want to monetize those patents. Again, you need someone to analyze which products infringe on your patents, and then provide you an evidence of use or or a proof for that. So
Right,
again, that's where we come in, where we'll analyze your patents. We'll look at the products in the market. We'll look at, for example,
right.
Samsung's and
right.
all these companies, their phones, and do the mapping onto your patent. And
So in order to build this company that you have with over 300 professionals spread across 6 continents, which is amazing, what challenges does that present in terms of communicating your vision and guidance across that footprint?
uh, yes, it is somewhat challenging. I think one thing that helps is that me and my co-founder, we are not, both of us are not located in India. So I have moved here, and he's there. So at least one of us is with the team, and one of us can coordinate with the sales
Right.
team here in the West. And another thing that we've tried to do is that the senior leadership that we've been able to build in our company, at least let's say the next 2 or 3 layers, uh, they are very well motivated, and they are very well aligned with the organization. uh, and I would say they are the people with whom we don't even need to communicate the vision. They are the ones who brought the vision with
Mm,
us together.
mm,
And then the next, I would say, the key people who we want to be in the organization and stay in the organization, and help us grow. That's where we have right incentive structures like the ESOPs and everything, so they are already motivated to make sure that we build the organization and we achieve what we want to achieve. So that's been the one thing. uh, Another thing what we do is, uh, every year at the beginning of the year, we have a meeting where everyone from all the different offices goes back to India. At least the Sagacious owners group, so to say, the guys who
mm.
are the key decision makers and key movers and shakers. We meet in Goa, and that's where we spend 3-4 days planning for the next year and aligning everything. So in those 3-4 days, we come out with the goal forms for everyone, the metrics for everyone, what they need to get done with their team, how they are going to be measured, the performance is going to be measured, everything. And then after that, it's just fortnightly and monthly discussions. So then it's easier to do that.
So then you're able to execute on that plan that everybody has and they all buy into. But
Right.
now, okay, so all right, so you had this big meeting, really everybody's on the same page, and then COVID hit. What
Yes.
happened?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, that was really a difficult time for us. So in around March of 2020, and March, our financial year in India starts in April. So March was a time when COVID was just, I would say, picking up pace in India, and at the same time, we were planning for the next year. All enthusiastically motivated to go meet customers and bring new revenue. We had invested in Europe, Japan, US, and Canada, with having people here to go meet
Meet people.
clients in person. And all of that, in the next month we realized that's not possible. For the next few months this is not going to happen. We did experience a sluggish April, and then we realized, we need to change things. This is not, if we continue doing this, we are not going to hit our targets. Uh, so we changed a couple of things. First thing we did was, uh, we started calling our customers more often. So as in everyone who had who was the, let's say, point of contact for any customer, we started to make sure that we reached out to them and humanly try to understand what are they facing, what are the challenges that they are facing. And we realized that they were facing challenges. The services that they used us for were not relevant for them anymore at that stage, because they were not coming up with new inventions. The big companies had kind of stopped doing those activities, and they wanted to monetize their IP right now, and they wanted to cut costs on their IP, on maintaining their IP. So the whole discussion scenario changed. But the more we realized that we were able to understand what problems they are facing and how we can help them there, it helped us. So despite having doubts ourselves that should we at this time reach out to customers more and bother them, or let them be and not trouble them, we had this doubt that we should not trouble them. But we went beyond it. We talked to those people, and that helped. That was one thing. Second, we launched a COVID research assistance program. So through that, we gave 1,500 hours of free research support to anyone who was innovating with respect to battling COVID. So if you were working on vaccines, if you were working on PPE kits, anything that was remotely related to enabling people to fight COVID, you could take certain hours from that pool. So you were coming up with a new invention, you wanted to do a patentability search, okay, 15 hours of research free to you, things of that. So that helped us gain a big momentum. We started getting more inquiries, and then there were those free hours, and then there was more. So that helped us bring in new customers. We also did a lot of, what do I say, uh, deferred billing for our customers. So our customers who wanted to give us work, but they didn't want to pay at that time, we gave them extended time.
You were actually acting like a partner to them, which is something very valuable when times are not great. When you step up and say, guess what, I understand your dilemma, we're going to help, right? We're in this together, we're going to come out of this together. We want to be here when we both come out of this. Wonderful, wonderful mindset. I know we did that in 08 and 09. As a matter of fact, we did that in COVID as well. I did 25 CEO interviews related to COVID, especially just to get the pulse of what my friends and other business owners were feeling and doing. And it was quite eye-opening because we were all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And who do you want next to you? You want a guy who's got an oar and he's going right alongside with you. So that was really cool. So I understand that you told me, you shared with me that that was really good for business.
Yes, it did. So in the end, so this was on the business side, on the client front, and then on the employees front too. We were probably I mean, before the official lockdown, our team was already working from home. We sent everyone home in the middle of March, so we didn't take any chances at all. And we started, and again, just like our customers, our employees were also facing challenges. Maybe someone's family member is getting infected, or they are living in where our offices are, but their hometown is somewhere else, and it's their family members that they're concerned about. So for them to focus on work with the same enthusiasm was not possible. We didn't expect that to happen. But what we did was we started two things. One, we started uh, we started giving them extra leaves, extra day offs for if someone in their family was infected. So we started that offer, and then we started giving them interest free loans, which is, I mean, we already have an interest free loan program at Sagacious, but we increased that fund, and we created a separate fund called COVID fund. So even if someone was not eligible because of their tenure at Sagacious, so there are certain criteria. You have to be 2 years in Sagacious and stuff like that. But
Right.
even if you didn't meet that, you could take money out of that, and then you could pay later.
Wow.
So we did a couple of those things that helped people also deliver their best, I would
So
say.
you did what the United States government did by providing that financial help to the citizens. You stepped up as a company and said, guess what? We got you covered. Wonderful, wonderful. So proud of that. So I'm understanding that things in India now are not so great in terms
Right.
of COVID. So I really hope and wish that you guys come out of it, all your people in India, uh, you know, are spared and come out of it well. Because I had it, I know what it is. It's serious, and it's something you got to just pray and hope for God will be good to you and get you out of it. Thank God we have the vaccines now. I understand our government is saying we're going to send you a ton of it, which I hope they do quickly, right? So before we go on, I'm hearing in my other ear that they're telling me it's time for a commercial break. So we're going to take a quick little commercial break, and then we'll be back.
Creating a comprehensive, effective marketing plan can be complex and difficult, but it doesn't have to be. At Lorraine Gregory Communications, we make it easy. Experience matters.
Hello, my name is Tom Hunt, the founder of Fame. Now, Fame loves the Ask a CEO podcast. We've actually been working with Greg and Peter behind the scenes for the past year, over a year, I think, to help build and grow the show. And so if you have a business, specifically a B2B business, and you're looking to raise awareness with people in your field, to build relationships with people in your industry, then we would love to talk. We have this almost completely done for you service where we'll set up and grow a podcast that ideally will become profitable within the first 6 months to a year. So if that's something that interests you, you can just go to fame.so, check out our case studies, etc. We would love to talk. And of course, I do want to say thank you to Greg and Peter for building such an awesome podcast with Ask a CEO.
And we're back with Anant, and his company is Sagacious, and he is a top executive in the intellectual property industry. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Greg.
What we're going to talk about now is more about your leadership style, right? Because the audience is a mix of CEOs and the people on their way to the C-suite. So let's talk about some leadership. So I think there are 3 key factors. Most CEOs will tell me they have 3 to 5 factors that they should concern themselves with every day, regardless of the industry. Do you have such?
So maybe you
What
can cut.
what are the 3 key factors that you should concern yourself in running a business?
So, I think I'll try to share what I think has worked for Sagacious. When me and my partner we focused on these things, it has helped us, and we kind of learned it over the course of running Sagacious, and some things work, some things didn't. But this, I think, always works. So first thing we realized that when people want to do great work, people who are there in your team, they are actually they're also they join you, they do anything that they do is to shine, to do great work. And if there's confusion in what that great work is and how would that impact their growth, that can lead to bad performance. So first thing we realize that if we have a vision and if everyone is clear about that vision and their role in how to achieve it, now it sounds very, I would say, strategic at times, and it sounds very theoretical, but you got to break that down so that everyone's efforts actually align towards a vision or a mission.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing we do every year. Second is we have to have right kind of motivation for everyone in the organization to be achieving what we've asked them to achieve or what their goals are. So there has to be monetary incentive structure, and everyone has different motivations. Everyone is motivated by different things. So if we set up the first thing that, okay, we give you the goal. Second thing is we have the right motivation to help you or to keep you energized to work towards your goal. And third is we keep enabling them to work towards that goal. So, okay, you know what you need to achieve. You are motivated because there's an incentive when you achieve it. But then when you start doing it, you get blocked by something because, okay, I am focused on A, but there is this other department who keeps giving me this extra work, and I have to deliver it, but that impacts my performance. So it's my job to make sure that these things don't happen, or it's my job to put in systems in place that I enable this guy to do it. I don't get him distracted. So when to get all these 3 things working on a day-to-day basis, we have to have systems in place. So I think we start with this, and then we bring in systems in place to make sure that this is happening. And on a daily basis, me and my partner, our job is to just keep tracking the metrics and identifying where we are losing out on any of these, and keep taking actions.
Perfect. So you communicate the vision and mission and make sure everybody's on the same page, and remove the roadblocks right? So I was interested in the fact that you guys have been a great place to work in twice. You've been recognized for that. So that tells me how important culture is to you. So maybe you could expound on that. I know you touched on it a little bit before, but how do you, as a leader, go about building a culture and maintaining a healthy corporate culture in such a big organization?
That's a good point. And we, uh, as we grew, we also realized that, when it was a small team, let's say it's me and my partner Tarun, and then let's say a team of 4 or 5 people that we are working together to do something, it's very easy for all of us to be on the same page and to have same sort of values. We don't need to write those values. Just by being together, working together, we're already, in the same state of mind. As the team grows, as people's responsibilities grow, and there are more layers that keep, adding to your organization, it's very difficult to have everyone work on the same values unless those values are defined, written, and then
Yeah.
propagated. So that's what. And all these things at times, they sounded cliched to us, having a vision, having a mission, having, values and those kind of things. But we had an advisor, or we still have him as an advisor. He's in Chicago. He taught us, or he emphasized on us that, we got to do this if we want to grow. And that was when we were, 25, 30 people, around that size. We started, and we've changed our vision and mission and values since then. But that's when we thought that, okay, this is important. Now that he's asking us to do this, let's do it. We came up with that thing. And once those things are written, it's very easy for anyone to, let's say, to define or to identify that, what you're doing is not aligned with what should be done, because it's not as per the values. And my people are accountable, or my people are have the power to hold me accountable if I'm not doing something that's aligned with the values. And that has happened.
Mm.
So I think one thing we did is, okay, this is what we expect our company to perform like. These are the values we'll stand by. And if I don't follow these values, you have the right to stop me. And that also gives me the right to stop you and tell you to not do it. So that's one. Then we have policies around those, and those policies are iterated and discussed. That's like one aspect of it. Second thing I told was that, we truly believe that people want to shine, they want to do good work, and it's our job to tell them what's needed out of them. And expectations are slightly higher than where they currently think. We allow them to stretch themselves, to expand themselves every year. So that's one thing we are very good at. Every individual at Sagacious, the person that they report to knows where they stand, and what's the extension that they can achieve in the 1 year, and that's monitored. So everyone is motivated to grow. I think that's probably helped us,
Yeah.
keep people energized.
When I was in college, one of the communications courses I took was all about that, about expectations. If people know your expectations, they're more likely to achieve it and bypass it, as
Yeah.
if instead of some amorphous, okay, you work at this desk, right? But if I tell you, you work at this desk and I need you to do X, then he understands. And that makes all the difference in the world, because if you have people just flittering around and, I'm doing a good job, I'm rubber stamping stuff and whatever, boss is happy, he's not bothering me. Well, that's not getting the value out of the employee, and it's not allowing them to shine. So I think
Yeah.
that's a great thing that you actually lay that out for them, and you do it on an annual basis. So everybody's on the same page. It sounds like that's a very important thing. And that's the way you run your company. Everybody needs to be on the same page, so we're all pulling in the same direction. That's really great. It's really good stuff. I love these Ask a CEO interviews for that reason alone, that everybody gets to take a pearl from you, because you've lived it, you've learned it, you've done it. And all those people who are trying to get to the C-suite need to listen, right, to somebody who's done it in the crucible. You brought this thing up since 2008. It's 2021 now. Guess what? You started in the worst time, and now look at what you have. So pay attention, people. This man knows what he's talking about. So tell me, I know you're a communicator. I know you're a teacher. I know you're a mentor to your employees. That's all great stuff. Every CEO has to wear those hats. But what does the future of Sagacious and yourself personally look like?
Uh, Future of Sagacious, I think right now, Sagacious is amongst the top 5 IP support services provider in the world. So I'm not talking about IP law firms. IP law firms are very different from us. We are providers to them as well. They are our customers. So in terms of such providers, we are amongst the top 5, I would say, across the globe. There's no official ranking, but based on the number of people that we see, these companies have on LinkedIn and, other data that's published, and, some sort of third party recognition, not in terms of ranking, but, some sort of recognition. We know that we are among in the top 5. We want to keep, you know, going further in this ranking. We I wouldn't say we want to be number 1, because probably we do want to be, but I don't want to
You don't want to jinx it.
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say it that way, but yeah, we want to be in these top 5 and keep furthering. And honestly, our vision, or and truly, that's what we want. We want to be recognized as the most trusted and the indispensable part in the IP community. So if we're able to achieve that, I think number 1 is not a difficult thing to.
I think you're well on your way to that, and I admire you, and I wish you all the best in that. So before I let you go, I always ask my guests this question, and you can
Yeah.
answer it on the personal side, the business side, or both. What's
Sure.
the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah, sure. So since I knew this question was coming to me, I noted the answers for both the aspects. So on personally, the one advice which I'm glad that someone gave me. I got it very late in my, I would say, in my business career also, but I'm glad that I got it, which was the voice in my head, or my opinion of myself, is not me, and that does not define what I can or cannot achieve. It's only my actions that will define what I can achieve. And there are times when I'm stuck, I can't do this, or we can't do this, or we're not hitting the numbers, and that's when it's very important to get that out, and just focus on the actions and the goal. We may not hit it, but that's always put me in a good headspace, and enabled me to take action. So I love that. uh, Business wise, our advisor, he told us that to achieve anything in business, now that has worked for us. I'm not sure how it works for others, but he said, to achieve anything in business, break it down into numbers, and as you continue focusing on the numbers, everything else will fall into place. So whether it's my team's performance, whether it's the happiness of my team, whether it's whatever it is, I got to measure it in numbers and then focus on that number, and then everything will fall in place to hit that number, and then performance will increase. And that has also worked for us.
Interesting. My dad, who was in the 8th grade, said, spend less than you bring in and you'll never be in trouble. So listen, I really, really appreciate this. Tell the audience where they can reach you, how they can reach you, and what you can do for them. You have the floor.
Okay, great. Well, you can reach me by email at anant.kataria, that's anant.kataria @sagaciousresearch.com, SAGACIOUS research.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. I'm active. I will respond to your message, have a conversation if that's needed. And I'm generally very happy to talk about my challenges and challenges that other people are facing. And I like that. I learn from that, and I'll be happy if I can contribute in any way in your success.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much. Everybody, that's a wrap. Don't miss any of our upcoming Ask a CEO interviews. We have some great guests lined up from every industry from all over the world. The video interviews are available on YouTube at Greg's Corner Office, or as a podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all the other streaming services. And if you've enjoyed the show, I please ask you to subscribe and share far and wide. Thank you all. See you next time.